It's time to Tengamo with Topstar and save up to 100% on your viewing. Get value, massive discounts and more content for less. Starting 15th November, maintain or upgrade your current bouquet to enjoy the Tengamo offer. As a DTT subscriber, pay 2 months 100 kwacha for Nova and get upgraded to 2 months basic. Pay 2 months basic and get upgraded to 2 months classic. And when you subscribe 2 months on the classic bouquet, you get 10 days of extra viewing. For DTH subscribers, pay 2 months for Nova or Smart and get upgraded on the next higher bouquet. And 2 months payment on the Super Bouquet earns you 10 days of extra viewing. Subscribe now and enjoy great football, exciting series and educative kids content only on Topstar. Topstar, enjoy digital life.
Ninsambusha mwina Zambia wanso fikirepo okulembesha bukasala. Okulembesha okuletwa n'abakabungwa ka Electoral Commission of Zambia mukusala kwa chinkumbawiro kwa mwaka wa 2021
okutendeka pa 9 November okufika pa 12 December 2020.
Abena Zambia bonse abakweta akatupa ka mutwe n'emyaka 18 n'okuchilapo ero n'abale kumanya emyaka 18 ilo chilefika nangu pa 9 May 2021 n'abafikapo okulembesha bukasala wa mwaka wa 2021. Ngata mulembesha bukasala nishita mwakasaleko mukusala kwa chinkumbawiro kwa mwaka wa 2021. Lembesha eni bukasala n'okupoka akatupa kakusalira po akapya pantu tutupatwa kale twakusalira po tatwakabombe mukusala kwa mwaka wa 2021 ukwa chinkumbawire.
Lembesheni okusala ninsambushenu imbila abamiletereko bakabungwe kamuna pakusala aka Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ.
For the most accurate and balanced news, we are a credible and trusted news source. We are KBN Television. Catch us live on Topstar Channel 102. And remember to like our page KBN TV on Facebook for all breaking news. KBN, the finest television.
Good evening and thank you so much for joining us at 1930 with the main news on the finest television. My name is Petty Chanda. We quickly take a look at stories making headlines. Civil societies call prison vote a recipe for confusion. Government calls for concerted efforts in the fight against corruption. Yali predicts voter registration outcome. Woman activist calls on the church to be proactive. In foreign news, chemical explosion in KwaZulu-Natal leaves 13 injured. And in sports news, Kosafa under-20 defender Chishimba says Malawi is a must-win game. And now the main news in detail. A consortium of civil society organizations has charged that allowing inmates to vote in the 2021 general elections is a recipe for anarchy in the country. Speaking at a joint media briefing today, Zitukule Executive Director Nicholas Piri says that electoral integrity is not an event but a process which encompasses a wide range of activities from continuous voter registration as provided for under Section 7 of the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2006. Mr. Piri says the consortium of civil society organizations is deeply troubled by the refusal of ECZ to accommodate stakeholders' views and contributions.
The issue of electoral integrity, ladies and gentlemen, it goes without saying that electoral integrity is not an event. It is a process which encompasses a wide range of activities from continuous voter registration as provided for under Section 7 of the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016, voter education, fair and equitable application of the Public Order Act, and adequate funding of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, among other things. We are deeply troubled by the manner in which these essential ingredients for enhancing electoral integrity are being handled by the electoral body. What is more disturbing, ladies and gentlemen, is that the ECZ has insulated itself from stakeholders' views and contributions, opting to follow its own wisdom and its own voice. A number of stakeholders have written to the ECZ to seek clarity and express their views.
And GEA's Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi says the consortium of civil society organizations is not against the decision to allow inmates to vote. Mr. Chipenzi says the first thing to do is to make sure the correctional facilities are more habitable for inmates than political parties rushing to solicit for votes from inmates.
As some people would say, the devil is in the detail. So we don't know. And we are saying, please, we are not against the prison's rights. There's some prison, if you read what the Honorable Kambwili was saying on one of the newspapers, I think the Mask, he's saying food in the prisons is a problem. Why is it not that we have not put more effort in feeding the prisons that are eating chiremba without cooking oil, without tomato, without onion? But we want to give them a vote to say, go and vote for me. Is that not selfishness?
Meanwhile, Zambia Institute of Independent Media Alliance Zima Treasurer Hazel Mwalimu says he would like the prison vote to be stopped henceforth. Mr. Mwalimu says the Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ has not been clear on how the media shall have access to prisons. He adds that the media has the responsibility to reach the voters and find their expectations from various political players and find out how the message from different political players is sitting with the voters. Mr. Mwalimu adds that in the absence of the ECZ coming up with clear guidelines on how the media is going to access the inmates, then the process should be stopped.
The prison vote should be stopped forthwith. We are in total support of this for two reasons. One, ECZ does not come out clear on the guidelines of how the media shall access prisons. You are aware that the media has a responsibility to reach the voters and find out the expectations from the political players, and also to also establish how the messages from the various political players is sitting with the voters. So in the
Government has noted the need for concerted efforts in the fight against corruption. Justice Minister Kbn Main has said government is open to contribution from stakeholders on how the fight against corruption can be won. He has urged stakeholders to engage the general public on how the vice can be fought. The minister has proposed that laws aimed at mitigating corruption in the country should be strengthened. He stressed the need to raise a generation that would not condone corruption in the country. Mr. Lubinda said this in Lusaka today during the anti-corruption conference, which was organized by the Transparency International Zambia, TIZ.
354 amesana yambo olipira. Please musanga lero yambalikoni. Mwapezao kangono mwalipira kutatikie mapaipu. Nanga sasa ika pipe ndiyo kuti imwe palipe chanu muzambo piti za wanda wakatenga manzi kutani. Mukalipira manzi azabu ya pakoma. Nifa ni muze minister kuti mukabwata constituency tinainama village. Hii na village anaye kuikamba kuti Mahoko village. Hii na inali Kondwe village. Mukayangana leo tuacha kumanza bwela.
Meanwhile, TIZ Executive Director Maurice Nyambe has said that the revelations by the Auditor General's report, the Financial Intelligence Center and media reports suggest that there is little progress to tackle the vice. Mr. Nyambe has wondered why the country is not making progress in the fight against corruption, even after raising awareness. He is, however, hopeful that the conference will have fruitful deliberations on how corruption can be fought. Mr. Nyambe has reiterated the organization's commitment to the fight.
According to the Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index for 2019, Zambia has a score of 34 and ranking of 113. For 2018, the score was 35 and ranking of 105, entailing that we dropped by 1 on the score and 8 places on the rankings. In fact, in the 4 years since 2016, Zambia has dropped 4 points on the CPI, the worst performance for the country since the CPI started. In terms of ranking, Zambia has dropped by 17 places from the CPI 2017 rank of 96 out of 180 to 113 out of 180 in 2019. Similarly, the 2019 Global Corruption Barometer for Africa, which is a product of a partnership between TI and Afrobarometer, shows that 66% of those surveyed in Zambia were of the view that corruption had increased in the previous 12 months. These grim statistics cause us to ask questions about the efficacy of the
Young African Leaders Initiative YALI predicts that the Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ will only register 5.5 million eligible voters by December 12 this year. YALI legal advisor Isaac Mwanza has disclosed that the organization is on the ground monitoring the ongoing mobile voter registration exercise countrywide, and the turnout by citizens is overwhelming. In an interview with Kbn Television in Lusaka today, Mr. Mwanza said that not everyone among the targeted 9 million Zambians are willing to vote due to religious reasons, among other things. He has, however, commended the Commission for the role in the electoral process. Mr. Mwanza adds that over 4.5 million are expected to cast their vote in the 2021 general elections. He has stated that political parties now know the conclusive number of voters owing to the new register, unlike in previous elections, where even the dead were counted among expected voters.
YALI is still on the ground. We are constantly monitoring the voter registration exercise. And we're very happy so far with the turnout of the people that are registering. Our own data shows that 4,652,391 have registered to vote. Now, if you look at this number, this is a very, very good number. The turnout in the 2016 general election was just about 3.5 million voters. Now we have registered 4.6 million voters. What it means is that the political parties...
Woman activist Wendy Mlenga says the church has a very significant role to play in society today, more than ever before. Speaking in an interview with KBN News, Ms. Wendy Mlenga also says it is up to the church to speak out on the ills of society. Ms. Mlenga has appealed to the church in the country to come out strongly and condemn theft and corruption among public servants. She says if truly Zambia is a Christian nation, then theft and corruption cases which are seen today will not be on the increase.
There's so much corruption going on. Corruption, what is the church saying? What is it doing? There's so much theft. What is the church saying? What is it doing? Are they also being corrupted? I am appealing to the church. They need to speak out and stand out as a body of Christ. Even those who belong to those churches, as leaders who belong to churches, ministry does not belong to the four walls of a church building.
Patriotic Front PF Mporokoso Member of Parliament Brian Mondubile has revealed that his constituency has received 10 health posts. In an interview, Mr. Mondubile said his office has also started constructing 6 health posts using personal resources. Mr. Mondubile, who is also PF Chief Whip, said considering how vast Mporokoso constituency is, it was wise that health posts were constructed in areas where there was none to ensure that health services were closer to the people. He said his office remains committed to ensuring that development is taken to the people of Mporokoso who elected him.
Yes, we have 4 health posts that were part of the 650 health posts that were being constructed countrywide, and we have them in very strategic places. But we've also taken it up through the community and the Member of Parliament office to construct health posts in areas where we didn't have those from Ministry of Health. For instance, we are currently working on one at Wondo. This is a donation from the MP. We also have one...
You're watching the main news on the Finest Television at 19:30. We take a break. Do stay with us.
The beauty in life lies in the ability to choose what you want to be. That choice comes with the responsibility of doing the right thing by exercising your right to vote. All eligible Zambians must now acquire new voters' cards for the forthcoming general elections, as the old ones will not be valid in 2021. If you're a holder of a green national registration card and will be 18 years and above come 9th May 2021, then you should register to vote.
Deciding what the future will be like is in my hands. It is also in your hands. Register to vote. It's your right.
Welcome back and thank you for still staying with us. We continue with the main news. Minister of Water Development, Jonas Chanda, has assured all stakeholders that government will account for all the resources set for the construction of water projects around the country. Dr. Chanda says government has made considerable investments to put up water projects and ensure that every Zambian has access to safe drinking water. He says government will ensure that communities are far from waterborne diseases during the rainy season. Dr. Chanda says government has therefore embarked on different water projects in the country to ensure that every Zambian has access to clean water. He has therefore assured stakeholders that all resources for putting up water projects in the country will be accounted for. He was speaking this morning when he launched the Gondwe Water Improvement Project in Gondwe Compound in Lusaka. The Gondwe Compound Water Supply Improvement Project, launched today, aims to provide access to clean and safe water, servicing around 8,600 residents.
The project we are launching today will mitigate the effects of the outbreak of waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid and dysentery, especially in this era of the COVID-19 pandemic in our communities. Consumption of water from shallow wells which are seated next to pit latrines and soakaways in peri-urban areas will be a thing of the past. Furthermore, through the Emergency Water Improvement Project in peri-urban areas of Lusaka, which I've just talked about, provision of water will improve significantly in Lusaka. I'm happy to note that the project that we are launching today, at the cost of 815,000.
Speaking at the same event, Kabwata Member of Parliament Kbn Main has warned against people brewing cachasu in compounds. He says there's need to reduce on people brewing the traditional drink as it is adversely affecting young people in the area. Mr. Lubinda has, however, advised the residents to exercise hygiene to prevent waterborne diseases. He has also thanked the Minister of Water Development for putting up a water development in the project. And Lusaka Mayor Mao Sampa has commended the Lusaka Water Supply Sanitation Company, LWSC, and Water and Sanitation for the Urban Poor, WSSUP, for successfully implementing the Gondwe Compound Water Supply Improvement Project. The mayor said this is a much-needed move as this could potentially reduce waterborne diseases in the city. He has further stated the importance of Lusaka residents avoiding waterborne diseases such as cholera by observing cleanliness in their surrounding areas. Mr. Sampa stated that the people of the city should not depend on government officials alone to keep the city clean, but should also play their role in doing so.
One of the biggest challenges in the city of Lusaka is water, and most areas have no water, and where there's no proper water, then there's no proper sanitation, there's no proper toilets. It's the same story in other areas. And it's gratifying to see that together, putting hands with the company Lusaka Water, the Ministry of Water Development has come to the city's aid, and our cooperating partners who I forgot to recognize, the water and sanitation for the urban poor, represented by Engineer Ruben Sipuma, also they have come in, and now we have boreholes here in Gondwe.
The Ministry of National Development Planning has called for efforts in educating the public on climate change. National Planning Minister Alexander Chiteme says data suggests that increase in knowledge about climate change can lead to people adopting positive behaviors. He says, therefore, there is need to educate the public about the basic climate change knowledge and adaptation strategies. Mr. Chiteme says climate change poses a huge threat to the attainment of the country's development aspirations championed in the Vision 2030. Mr. Chiteme says government has therefore placed climate change at the center of all developmental processes. He says government has also continued to put in place measures to adapt and mitigate the results of climate change.
My ministry, with the support of the World Bank, has since the 13th of November in 2019 been implementing 100 million transforming landscape for resilience and development pilot program. The project development objective is to improve natural resource management in selected districts to support sustainable livelihoods and in the event of an eligible crisis or emergency to provide immediate and effective response to the eligible crisis.
Mr. Chiteme also says government has been implementing the $100 million Transforming Landscapes for Resilience and Development Triad project with support from the World Bank. Mr. Chiteme says government has therefore procured 20 brand new Toyota Land Cruisers to ease the transportation challenge and ensure efficient and effective delivery of project inputs.
Climate change poses a huge threat to the attainment of our country's development aspirations championed in our Vision 2030. Conscious of this threat, the patriotic government has placed climate change at the center of all developmental processes. In this regard, we have continued to mainstream climate change adaptation and mitigation actions, plans, and policies at both national and subnational levels. Ultimately, through mainstreaming, we want to contribute to changing, first of all, our people's mindsets, as well as to help build resilience in our communities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen,
in foreign news, there has been an explosion at a chemical factory in Durban on Tuesday. 2 people have been taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. 6 others have escaped with moderate injuries. The road leading to the factory has been closed. Fire engines and rescue personnel have been dispatched to the area. For more, we monitor ENCA News.
There's been an explosion at a chemical factory in New Germany in KwaZulu-Natal. That's not far from Pinetown. 2 people have been taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. 6 others have escaped with moderate injuries. We also understand the road leading to the factory has been closed. Fire engines, rescue personnel are on the scene. I want to take you live now to reporter Tuba Velani, who has just arrived outside the factory. Tuba, good afternoon to you. What do you know? Set the scene. And I understand you have a senior emergency officer with you.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Here with me is the divisional commander from eThekwini Fire Department, who's going to give us details of what really happened and what they found when they get here. But so far what we know is that at around about 11:30, there was a fire that broke out at this chemical factory. We know that the factory deals with petroleum jelly.
And finally, in sports news, Zambia defender John Chishimba says there will be no room for errors when the young Chipolopolo take on Malawi in the Group B match at the 2020 COSAFA Men's Under-20 Championship. Chishimba, who scored the opener in the 2-0 win over Comoros on Monday, has emphasized on the need for all players to apply themselves positively and take all 3 points against the Young Flames on Wednesday afternoon. A draw will be enough to seal Zambia's place in the semi-finals of the competition, but Chishimba admits that it will not be easy facing Malawi, who have won 1 game and lost the other in Group B. Chishimba says the game against Malawi is important to the young Chipolopolo, adding that winning will see them qualifying to the semi-finals. Zambia lead group with 6 points, a 1-0 win over Namibia and a 2-0 win over Comoros, while Malawi are on 3 points, winning their first match against Comoros 1-0 before losing to Namibia 1-2. Should Zambia reach the COSAFA Under-20 final and qualify to Mauritania, a semi-final spot at the Continental Showpiece will be enough to book them a plane at the World Cup set to run in Indonesia from May 20 to June 12, 2021. With that sports item, we conclude tonight's main news, but before we go, the headlines once again. Civil societies call prison vote a recipe for confusion. Government calls for concerted efforts in the fight against corruption. Yali predicts voter registration outcome. Woman activist calls on the church to be proactive. Chemical explosion in KwaZulu-Natal leaves 13 injured. COSAFA Under-20 defender Chishimba says Malawi is a must-win. From me, Petty Chanda, and the rest of the production team, it's goodbye and God bless you.
Balanced news. We are a credible and trusted news source. We are KBN Television. Catch us live on Topstar Channel 102. And remember to like our page KBN TV on Facebook for all breaking news. KBN, the finest television.
It's time to Tengamo with Topstar and save up to 100% on your viewing. Get value, massive discounts and more content for less. Starting 15th November, maintain or upgrade your current bouquet to enjoy the Tengamo offer. As a DTT subscriber, pay 2 months 100 kwacha for Nova and get upgraded to 2 months basic. Pay 2 months basic and get upgraded to 2 months classic. And when you subscribe 2 months on the classic bouquet, you get 10 days of extra viewing. For DTH subscribers, pay 2 months for Nova or Smart and get upgraded on the next higher bouquet. And 2 months payment on the Super Bouquet earns you 10 days of extra viewing. Subscribe now and enjoy great football, exciting series and educative kids content only on Topstar. Topstar, enjoy digital life.
Tifulu wanzika zonse za dziko la Zambia kuteka kumbali kuvota kulembetsa kwa bungwe la Electoral Commission of Zambia kuteka kumbali pa masankho a chaka cha 2021 kuzambika pa tsiku la 9 Novemba kufika pa tsiku la 12 December chaka chino cha 2020. Nzika zonse za dziko la Zambia zomwe zili ndi chinkhope cha Green National Registration Card zifunika kukhala ndi zaka 18 ndizopitirira ndiponso azakwanitsa zaka zobadwa 18 pa tsiku la 9 May chaka cha 2021 kapena pomwe tsikuli likalibe kufika ndi ololedwa kulembetsa ngati woteka kumbali kuvota pa masankho mchaka cha 2021. Ngati simulembetsa ndiye kuti simuzavotako pa masankho a chaka cha 2021. Lembetsani kuvota ndi kutenga khadi yatsopano. Kumbukirani kuti makhadi akale ovotera sazakwira ntchito pa masankho a 2021. Lembetsani kuvota ndi ufulu wanu. Lembetsani kuvota mu ufulu wanu. Utenga uyu wachokera ku bungwe la Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ.
It's time to Tengamo with Topstar and save up to 100% on
God's favorite rap. Vakanifunza veni mvela ni laka laka ine ndine Christ lava vamushe vini konga chino chaka. That's why ningo jumpa mapalo ya paka jumpa 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 olovifute bwanji tingo jumpa 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 olovifute bwanji tingo jumpa hauka mungo jumpa vintu vavuta chufuka nina Yesu na faith yokuta he got my back he never seizes olovifute bwanji vidi vivevi your boy's not local but I'm still laka na flow so clean ni white mukaka mavuto ya kabwela tia chachi paka his goodness and mercy ni fulu musaka enjoy bully Yesu life enjoy enjoy